with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Glad to have my good friend, Dr. Ron McNish from the University of Guam. Tonight, we're going to be talking about actually trying to get some maybe more correct information. You know, I'm a little bit of an insider in this, Dr. McNish, but really an outsider of this thing. And basically, I'm talking about the University of Guam in general. It's touted as to have the University of Guam be the first choice, okay? But recently, in the past few weeks, we've got reports, of course, and the reason why I asked you about this, because your name was dragged into this whole situation. There was recently a professor that was indicted for allegedly some sexual crimes that were committed, and an indictment had come down. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the union at the University of Guam claims you were exaggerating. I know the governor had come out with his with a weekly address saying that hey, this shouldn't be taken lightly. It should be thoroughly investigated, and people who are doing this should be held responsible, and the leadership should make sure to look into this. And again, you know, make sure that the people in the law enforcement fully endorse and enforce this. The president of the university, shortly after that came out, put out a release. The media was called to that press conference, basically, that's saying that the governor was misinformed in this information. And to me, as a father of two daughters, okay, and your father as well, the daughter, and a lot of folks out there, and regardless in general, we have our kids go off to college. We want to make sure they're in a safe environment. Not to say that they're not, okay, at the University of Guam, but can you tell us really what the big beef is with this whole thing? Because there's a potential crime here. I mean, allegedly a crime.
Sure.
Please, Doc.
Sure. Well, a couple of things really quickly and up front. UOG should be the natural choice for people of Guam, for people who are here who want to get a good college education. We have a great track record. It's a great place for a young person to get an education. I encourage every parent and every young person, if they want to go off island to go to a school, do at least 1 or 2 years at the university just to get a foundation done, and then go, because there's a number of reasons for that. They get a little bit more older, more wiser, more mature, and they're able to get some of their harder courses out of the way and things like that. The university is a great place to study. It's a great place to learn. I send my child to the university. She studies there, and she's academically grown, and she's matured there. I have full faith and confidence in the university, and I have full faith and confidence in the university's mission and how the university serves the community. I think the issue about student safety there, or dealing with sexual harassment on my campus, is a important issue, and it's one that needs to be talked about. It should be talked about on my campus. It should be talked about among the professors. And it can be talked about in the community also. I think in this particular case, in this particular instance, there was a problem, and the professor that was involved in this problem, he currently has a criminal case. I'm not going to speak to that. That'll play itself out in the court. But I have to say that as professors, we have a responsibility to protect our learning environment and protect our students. And for that reason, I'm asking every leader on our campus and off our campus to consider a rule or maybe even a law that says no dating between professors and students. Very, very simple. It's a rule that exists in many locations in the United States, or at least several elite locations in the United States, that professors should not be dating students attending the university. It's very simple, and then everything else falls into place from there. I've gotten a little resistance on that from a few quarters, but I think it's something that would be widely supported once it's discussed and debated. That's the policy angle that I have as a policy suggestion to correct some of these things. If there's no dating, there's no aligning behaviors toward or between professors and students.
Now, Dr. Minich, let me ask you this, because one of the things that I talked about on radio, and I did not have you on for this for that segment, but I talk about this because when the governor came out, there was quite some things that they brought out there which make a lot of sense. Again, as an outsider looking in there, it makes a lot of sense. Now, he said this need to be thoroughly investigated, and likewise, and totally vetted out, be it a thorough investigation, not just on the university side, because if there's a potential crime, Now, I can understand if you went against the rules and regulations of the university, okay? Now, but in this situation, allegedly, not only have you gone against the rules and regulations of the university, but there are laws as well, laws of Guam, okay? National laws as well that allegedly maybe have been violated in this sense. So how can a university investigate itself if it's not just confined to rules and regulations that were broken within the university, but you had laws of Guam that potentially been violated? And you said, well, we investigated thoroughly, and yeah, we took disciplinary action. Now, understanding that they did the right thing in taking disciplinary action, but if again there's potential violation of law, shouldn't you make that entity, that law enforcement entity, take care of, make sure whether or not there was a violation of law?
Sure. I think if you go back through all of the media stories from August all the way up even until last week, what you'll find is that there was an ongoing investigation, a criminal investigation from the AG, from the police. There was, at that time, of course, we know now the results of that investigation. And then the university said that if there's more information, they would act on that additional information. I think that the initiative by the governor to come out and publicly state that victims or the care of victims are important, that the victims, many of them are silent. They need to be addressed and listened to. I think that showed his leadership, because the problem is few leaders on Guam will ever criticize the university, but this was important criticism, and the university needed to hear it, I think. And the governor took initiative and made this statement because he cares about the students, he cares about their family and their parents, and as we all do. But I think it was important that he did it, and he framed the debate. But here's the interesting thing. Everybody talks to the governor.
Sure.
Everybody does.
Sure.
Not everybody talks to the university. So the amount of information accessed by the governor is likely very far, a lot higher than that in the internal system within the university. And so for that reason, the governor has a huge amount of information that the university may not have. The governor has a lot of information. And so maybe the point of miscommunication between the university
leadership,
understanding what the governor was saying was the governor had a lot of information.
Well, it looked like there was there was not that information that was transmitted to the University of Guam, because what I read, again, if the news story is correct, it was accurate, what the university president said, that there was I think there were some other things undertaken in regards to disciplinary action, because there were things that came out in the indictment report that did not come out that did not come out in their investigation. And of course, when you're just investigating rules and regulations pertaining to your organization, you're not necessarily investigating potential criminal activity, right? The investigation is different.
And that raises an excellent point. In a way, the university kind of sort of was fighting with one hand tied behind his back, because they only could rely upon what was being told to them. And to be frank, though, that might mean that we need to fix the law or fix our regulations within the university to better address these things and address them very deliberately, and do it in a way that we're able to protect the student interests on the one hand and make a safe learning environment on the other.
Yeah. Doc, I got to take a quick break, pay some bills, and we'll be back with more of this conversation. Be right back.